Myself, Pradeep Ghare, working as a IT teacher in Sadhguru Ghadge Maharaj College, Karad. Students, in last lecture, you have studied the form tag and its related tags and its attributes. Today, we are going to study the new concept in web designing, that is Cascading Style Sheet, CSS. CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheet. CSS is a language for describing and the presentation of web pages, including color, layout and fonts, that making our web pages attractive and presentable. Say CSS is designed to make style sheet for the web page. It is independent of HTML and can be used with any HTML or XML based markup language. Cascading style sheet used for describing how HTML elements are to be displayed on screen, paper or in other media. CSS saves a lot of work. It can control the layout of multiple web pages all at once. CSS allow you to control the look and feel of several pages by changing a single source. Students, CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheet. CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheet. CSS describes how HTML elements are to be displayed on screen, paper or in other media. CSS saves lot of work. It can control the layout of the multiple web pages all at once. Means, students, CSS is used for make web pages attractive. म्हणजेच CSS ने तुम्ही वेब पेजेस वरती म्हणजे मल्टिपल वेब पेजेस असतील, तुम्ही 10 वेब पेजेस बनवलेले असतील, 10 वेब पेजेसला सेम लेआउट पाहिजे असेल. लेआउट म्हणजे काय, त्या वेब पेजेसचं बॅकग्राऊंड, त्या वेब पेजेसवरती असणारे टेक्स्ट, त्याचा असणारा टेक्स्ट कलर, 10 पेजेसला जर तुम्हाला सिमिलर जर बॅकग्राऊंड कलर, टेक्स्ट कलर किंवा टेक्स्ट साईज, टेक्स्टचा टाईप हे सर्व जर सिमिलर पाहिजे असेल तर तुम्ही CSS यूज करू शकता. 10 पेजेस म्हणजे मल्टिपल पेजेसला तुम्ही सेम इफेक्ट देऊ शकता. त्याच्यामुळे तुम्ही काय करू शकता तर सेव्ह अ लॉट ऑफ वर्क. CSS allow you to control the look and feel of several web pages by changing single source. एका सिंगल लाईनच्या कोडमध्ये तुम्ही 10च्या 10 वेब पेजेसला तुम्ही सेम कलर, सेम टेक्स्ट, सेम बॅकग्राऊंड कलर, सेम साईज, टेक्स्ट साईज हे तुम्ही चेंजेस करू शकता. त्यासाठी आपण CSS यूज करू शकतो. CSS चे 3 टाइप्स आहेत. ते 3 टाइप्स आपण नंतरच्या लेक्चरला आपण स्टडी करणार आहे. तर या लेक्चरमध्ये आपण जस्ट स्टडी करणार आहे इंट्रोडक्शन टू CSS, इंट्रोडक्शन टू कॅस्केडिंग स्टाईल शीट. तर त्याचा आपण सिंटॅक्स स्टडी करणार आहे. म्हणजे कॅस्केडिंग स्टाईल शीट कशी लिहायची, त्याचा कोड कसा लिहायचा, त्याचा सिंटॅक्स आहे, तो सिंटॅक्स आपण स्टडी करणार आहे. ओके, ते एका सिंटॅक्स किंवा एका CSS मधून तुम्ही मल्टिपल पेजेसला सेम इफेक्ट कसा देऊ शकतो. म्हणजे तुम्ही 10 पेजेस आहे तुमचे, 10 पेजेसला सेम इफेक्ट, टेक्स्ट, सेम टेक्स्ट साईज, सेम टेक्स्ट कलर, सेम बॅकग्राऊंड कलर, ऑल पेजेसला तुम्ही एका सिंगल सोर्स कोड मधून तुम्ही तो अप्लाय करू शकता. तो कसा अप्लाय करायचा आहे तो आपण पुढे स्टडी करणार आहे. त्याच्यावर आपल्याला सिंटॅक्स स्टडी करायचं आहे. सिंटॅक्स फॉर कॅस्केडिंग स्टाईल शीट. दिस इज द सिंटॅक्स. This is the syntax for CSS. CSS rule set contains selector and declaration block. There is a 2 sections in the CSS syntax. One is the selector. Okay, here selector means HTML element. Here selector means HTML elements or HTML tags. are known as the selector. And declaration block contains, or declaration block start or up, or you can define in curly brace. In declaration section or in declaration block, you can declare the property and its values. Another, this is also the syntax of the CSS. This is the syntax of CSS. Here there are two sections. One is the selector and another is the declaration block. Okay, here H1. Okay, this is the example A. This is the example H1. H1 means any HTML heading. Or selector means in selector section you can define any HTML element. HTML elements mean HTML tag. And in curly brace, and in this start and this closing curly brace, in curly brace you can define the property and value. Property means attributes of the elements. That is one example. Color is the attribute, and then yellow is the value. Then semicolon, use another property or another attribute, that is font size. Okay, font size is a property and its value specify or define with colon. This is the colon. In colon, after that you can use the value. This is the syntax of CSS, simple CSS cascading style sheet. There is two sections, that is selector and declaration block. Selectors mean any HTML elements, and in declaration block you can define the different attributes. This is the syntax of CSS cascading style sheet. In detail, there is a syntax. There are two blocks. One is the selector, another is the declaration. In selector section you can define or you can specify the HTML element. You can define the HTML element. HTML elements mean HTML tags. Without angle bracket you can apply here. HTML element you want to style. It may be any tag like h1, body, etc. In declaration block, the declaration block can contain one or more declaration or separated by semicolon. या ठिकाणी तुम्हाला काय केलेलं आहे, सेमीकोलन दिलेलं आहे. डिक्लेरेशन हे काय करू शकतो आपण, मल्टिपल डिक्लेरेशन एकाच डिक्लेरेशन ब्लॉक मध्ये डिक्लेअर करू शकतो, पण त्यासाठी काय करायचं, हा सेमीकोलन यूज करायचा आहे. हियर कलर इज द वन प्रॉपर्टी अँड फॉन्ट साइज इज अनदर प्रॉपर्टी. In color property you can specify the value, that is value is in color value is yellow. Here use different second property, that is font size, and its value is 11 pixel. Okay, the selector indicates the HTML element you want to style. It could be any tag like h1, body tag, etc. In declaration block, the declaration block may contain one or more एक किंवा एकापेक्षा जास्त तुम्ही प्रॉपर्टीज यूज करू शकता, पण ती प्रॉपर्टी सेपरेटेड कशाने करायची आहे, तर सेमीकोलन. इथं दाखवलं तुम्हाला सेमीकोलन. फॉर द अबव एक्झाम्पल देयर आर टू डिक्लेरेशन. या वरच्या एक्झाम्पल मध्ये दोन डिक्लेरेशन तुम्हाला दिलेले आहेत. वन इज द कलर अँड सेकंड इज द फॉन्ट साइज. या दोन प्रॉपर्टी आहेत, कलर अँड फॉन्ट साइज आर द टू प्रॉपर्टीज अँड दीज टू प्रॉपर्टीज आर सेपरेटेड बाय सेमीकोलन. Here two properties, color value is yellow, font size value is 11 pixel. Here each declaration contains a property name and value and separated by colon, and it can be separated by colon. This is a colon. This is indicates the colon. This is the syntax of CSS, cascading style sheet. In next lecture, you can study some more examples of CSS. In this lecture, you can study only the syntax of CSS. This is the in syntax property. What is property? Property is a type of attribute. Property is a type of attribute of HTML element. It can be color, border, etc. And value, what is value? Value are assigned to CSS properties. Values are assigned to CSS properties. In the above example, value yellow is assigned to color property. Selector, for example, selector property 1 colon value 1 semicolon property 2 colon value 2, and then close the curly brace. In curly brace, you can define the declaration of property and values. In this video, I can add one more video. You can watch it and understand what is CSS, cascading style sheet. In next lecture, you can study the different types of CSS. There are 3 types of CSS. These 3 types you can study in next lecture. Also with example of each CSS, example on each CSS, 3 types, 3 examples you can study in next lecture. In this lecture, you can only study the introduction of CSS, and syntax of CSS. In this lecture, I add one more video. Watch it and understand what is CSS. Thank you.
Hi, welcome to Tutorials Point. In this video series, we are going to begin a very important topic for a newcomer who wants to learn the web designing. And here we are going to discuss about the CSS. CSS is basically a technology which is very much popular and is very indispensable for the web designing concepts. Nowadays, a lot of concepts like Bootstrap are totally based on the CSS. So here, before getting started while learning with this CSS concept, a candidate must be familiar with HTML. We on our website have a concept of HTML explained in a text as well as in a video tutorial. So before getting started with CSS, you can refer to those tutorials. And after that, you must have a web browser and a text editor. Since here I am a Windows user, so I will use the text editors like Notepad or Notepad++, which is very much free of cost, and any web browser of your choice like Chrome and Firefox. So once you have a knowledge of HTML, once you have these basic softwares like the text editor and the web browser, you are good enough to start with the CSS. So let's discuss about what this CSS is all about. CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheet. Style sheet is the thing in which we are going to work. So basically, style sheet means a list of a document, means a document which is containing a list of all these styles which you want to define for a particular element on the web pages. For example, if you want to make a particular design for the heading tags, you can create a sheet of those styles. Similarly, for all the different tags, maybe the controls as well. So this style sheet will help you out in making this set of style rules. Secondly, there is something called cascading. Cascading means a flow. Whenever you will make changes on the top, it will be flown in the downwards direction. That means if you will make any changes in the style sheet, the changes will definitely be reflected in the web pages as well, the pages who are using those particular style sheets. By the time we will start explaining about the working or the functionality of CSS, we will get to know like how we can make the different sheets for different documents for the style sheet and the HTML. And when we will make some changes in the style sheet, the changes will be reflected to the HTML as well. Is used to control the style of a web document. As I said, it will contain a list of styles for the specific element, or as per your choice, like you just want to make some list of styles and on any particular element you can apply that. Like for example, if I have designed some font family, the text color or something for a specific text, I can apply this particular setting to a heading, also to the paragraph as well. Handles the look and feel of the web page. As I said, it will contain the exact layout of a particular page. So how you want your page to be look, you can make that all inside this CSS. It is invented by Haken in 10th October 1994. Means this particular technology is ruling the web designing world from last more than 20 years. And nowadays it is maintained by the World Wide Web Consortium, maintained throughout the group of people within the W3C, that is World Wide Web Consortium. And now let's discuss about the advantages. Since we have HTML and using HTML as well, I can customize the look and feel of my web page. For example, I have a font tag in which we have an attribute like color, the family means the font face, or some more attributes. So using that particular tag, I can customize the appearance of any text. So why should we go for CSS? So let's have an idea of that. Here we are talking about the advantage. It saves time. Saves time means you can design the set of style rules in a single document and later you can apply that in throughout your website. So every time when you are adding a new web page, you don't particularly have to define the set of styles again and again in a specific HTML tag. Page loads faster. When you add the HTML and you keep on adding the different tags like font or maybe some more with some more attributes, the HTML documents will be heavier, and by the time the HTTP protocol will take that particular text to the web browser, the more HTML will take more time to get loaded. If you will make a separate document for CSS, the amount of HTML on a particular page will be lesser and it will be faster in loading. Easy maintenance. Since all these styles have been defined in a single document, so if I want to make some changes in my website appearance, I can do that by changing a single document and all the changes will be reflected to all the web pages in my website. Superior styles to HTML. Some of the tags are actually not containing the more styles for the appearance. For example, if you take H1 tag or any heading tag doesn't have a property or attribute which can change the text color. For example, if you want to say H1 color is equal to red, that is not going to work definitely. So using these styles, you can actually make the attributes applied on a particular tags which basically doesn't have those attributes. Multiple device compatibility. That means if you're creating a web page with the CSS, that particular web page will be compatible with any system like the different operating systems as well as with the different kind of devices, maybe laptop, desktop, mobile devices. It will be applicable to all. So these are the advantages of working with the CSS. So now, using all these benefits, in the next video onwards we will start implementing the concept of CSS practically.